What if God has opportunities for you as a business owner, but you can't see them? That's our conversation today on the podcast. Let's dive in. Well, welcome to the Business Growth Blueprint. I'm your host, BJ O'Neill, where we talk all things profitability, leadership, and culture, specifically for faith-driven business owners and entrepreneurs. So years ago, and I know that it can't be possible, right, because I don't have a lot of gray hair to prove years ago, but the first business we ever owned, and I talk about this story quite often because most of the mistakes, many mistakes that I made as a business owner happened so early on because I didn't have a lot of, experience. I was very young, and we went through a lot of trials because of it. However, there was a story that we were going through a season with our two different businesses. We expanded one of them. I talk about that quite often here on the podcast because it was a difficult season. And I began to pray that, hey, God, show me what to do. Give us opportunity. Help us through some financial difficulties that we were dealing with. Now, remember, back in those days, we're talking about the mid-90s, there was no Google. Remember those days? There was no YouTube video. There was no course to buy for $27 to figure out a few things here or there. You either try to figure it out on your own, also not the greatest move, or maybe you have a friend, coaching or business coaching for small and medium-sized businesses kind of wasn't a huge thing. It was maybe at the Fortune 500 level, but not for a lot of small businesses. However, one day, someone who worked with us, they sold a lot of the products wholesale to us that we sold in our store. It was a party supply business. This is before big box retailers carried themed party supplies, plates, cups, napkins, those kinds of things. We were a specialty boutique, if you will. And we became very good friends. Actually, her daughter worked for us, and one day she called. She said, hey, I've got something I want to show you that I believe could be a great opportunity for you. I'm like, okay. I thought she was talking about something for the store. And she came by one day. We went to my office. We started having a conversation. She said, I've got something that's going to be huge, and I need help with it. She was the sales rep for this company in the state of Alabama for the entire state, and she dealt with a lot of small boutique-y type shops like ours. And she began to go on and on how big it was going to be. The opportunity was huge. She was going to need help. I'm like, get to it. What is it? And she said, hey, well, you remember Barney, right? And if maybe you do too, back in the day, right? The purple dinosaur, it was massive. Well, the same company that produced Barney is going to produce this product that she was talking about. And so she reaches down in her bag. She pulls out this little bitty bear. She set the bear on my desk, and she just kind of paused, and I'm like, what is this? It was like a 5 or 6 inch plush toy, if you will. And she said, it's called a Beanie Baby. And I'm like, what is a Beanie Baby? And she said, it's going to be the biggest thing you've ever seen. They're going to have collector's editions. They're going to have this, that, and the other. And I'm just looking at her like she has 4 heads. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And she goes on and on and on. She says, I need you to help me sell this product all over the state of Alabama. And I'm like, you've got to be out of your mind. I was like, I don't have time for this. And here's what happened. I declined the offer. I declined the opportunity. Now remember for a moment, I'm sitting here asking for God to show us some opportunity, to help us kind of get out of some tough moments of decisions that I made as the business owner. Just, we make them. We make them, and some are right, some are wrong. Some have hardships. We did. And I ran into her a couple of months later in the grocery store. And I said, how are things going? She said, well, I don't want to tell you. She said, because you're not going to like it. And I said, what do you mean? And she said, well, I got my son to help me, and he just got his first commission check the other day, and it was for $17,000. Now, this was in 96, 95. In today's terms, what? That's nearly double. That's a lot of money. And while that's not all about money, it is provision. And remember, I'm asking God for opportunities. What happened? I found myself in a position to where I could not see what was right in front of me. Why? Well, there are 3 truths to unpack here. Number 1, busyness can blind us. In the challenges that I was going through, managing two different businesses, we had, employees at both. I think we had like 16 employees at the time between the two businesses, part-time college students, some full-time people, the whole thing. And much like you probably do as well. And we had expanded a business. We had a lot of things going on, and it was just, constant overload of thought and overload of overwhelm, and I was super, super busy. But many of us, as entrepreneurs and business owners, are so consumed with what we're building that we don't pause long enough for being discerned or discernmentship. And what happens is busyness as a faith-driven entrepreneur and leader can make us spiritually tone deaf. Just think about that for you right now. Now, I can tell you, for me, here I am, I'm asking, I'm praying, I'm looking for, direction and all these different things, but yet I was so consumed with what was going on and what I was doing and the day-to-day and the grind, and it's very normal that I did not see what God placed literally on my desk. Luke 10:40, when we talk about just busyness, it's the story of Mary and Martha. Jesus is in their home. Mary is sitting at the feet of Jesus. And where's Martha? Busy, prepping. And she gets frustrated with her sister. And she's like, I don't understand why you're not helping me. But she was so focused on preparation and hurry and the grind, but not Mary. She was focused. She wasn't worried about the details. She was focused on what mattered the most in that moment.